When my father met my mother, he had everything. Well, almost everything. He had a loving family, a devoted wife, and an intelligent daughter. He had lots of money and power that no money could buy. He was King of England. My mother was 26 years old when she met my father. She was intelligent, well-educated, and charming. She was from a good family, but not good enough to find a match that she could really care for. She was once betrothed to Henry Percy, son of Earl of Northumberland, but the betrothal was broken off by Cardinal Wolsey when she was 24. She really had nothing when they met, as she was a noblewoman who was beyond the age of marriage and without much to brag about. However, she refused my father's pursuit, which made her the one woman he could not have. Such a temptation to a man who had everything. My father promised to move heaven and earth to have her, and she, in turn, promised my father a son to carry the Tudor glory. For that, my father divorced his wife, Queen Catherine of Aragon, threw his daughter, Mary Tudor, out of court, and declared her a bastard. England broke off with the Pope and became a Protestant country. My father did all he could as promised, but my mother failed to deliver the one promise she had made, a son. When I was born, my father was greatly disappointed, but decided to give my mother a chance to make things right. But when she failed on the next pregnancy the following year, she was doomed. She lost her life, and I lost the princess title. It's sad enough to be without a mother, and it was even worse to be called a bastard. My brother, King Edward VI, took both me and my sister Mary Tudor off the succession list because we were illegitimate and not worthy of the crown. But fate would eventually put me on the throne of England and allow me to show how wrong all those people were when they thought me unworthy. My sister Mary was a queen everyone hated, and I was the queen everyone feared. I was loved by my subjects, but like my father, I would not tolerate disobedience. I brought peace and prosperity to England. I was a great queen, and I had my reasons for remaining single. Do you know how much sacrifice I had to endure to be the Queen of England? Do you know how many times I almost died because I became a threat to the person wearing the crown? There was no doubt that my sister wanted to leave the crown to our Catholic cousin, Margaret Douglas. But no one would have accepted that arrangement when I was the obvious heir to the crown. Margaret hated me, but had to accept me as the queen. I hated Margaret, but can't deny the fact that she was the mother of the only two male heirs with close Tudor blood. Henry and Charles Stuart both were born in England, healthy and intelligent. I probably would have named Henry my heir, if not for his mother and his bad womanizing reputation. Well, I was in no hurry to name an heir. I was still young and could produce my own children. I was also considering naming Mary, Queen of Scots, as my heir. She was young, healthy, very intelligent, and could hold the key to uniting England and Scotland. However, she was Catholic, and once Queen Consort of France. With England and France constantly at war, she would not be a wise choice. However, I thought of naming her heir anyway, if that was a move that could bring Scotland and England together. Or at least keep her from marrying Don Carlos of Spain. That would be an alliance that would seriously affect England's safety. I offered to name her the heir if she agreed to marry Robert Dudley, my trusted friend. I did not think she would agree to marry Robert, as he was a Protestant and from a treasonous family. But Queen Mary agreed. The marriage did not happen, though, because Robert refused. Soon after, Queen Mary decided to marry Henry Stuart, the eldest son of my hated cousin, Margaret Douglas. I was furious. How dare Henry marry without my permission? He was the best choice for the crown if something were to happen to me. And now he would marry Queen Mary. I put Margaret in the Tower of London and refused to acknowledge Lord Darnley as Scotland's new king. A year later, Queen Mary had a son, Prince James. A few months later, Darnley was murdered, and Queen Mary was kidnapped and raped. She was forced to marry her captor, Lord Bothwell. Rebels then imprisoned her, forcing her to abdicate the crown. Queen Mary escaped, fought, lost, and then fled to England. She thought I would help her, but she was more useful to us held in England rather than sent back home. There was a trial with no verdict, and she stayed in England for 18 years. Despite being locked in a castle, several of her suitors asked for her hand, but I had no plans to release her. I never told her, but I kept her in England to ensure not only her safety, but also her son's. Her enemies would make sure her son was safe and sound because they would rather have an infant they could control versus a queen waiting to take revenge on them. On the other hand, if James VI ever wished to stand against me, I could find a husband for Queen Mary and name the new son my heir. I could even pick the father. I was not trying to be cruel. I was just trying to do the right thing for my country. But after 18 years, Queen Mary was getting too old to have another child, while King James seemed to be the right king to unite Scotland and England. Queen Mary just had to go, so I signed her death warrant. After 44 years of reign, I was tired, but I can say I was a great queen.